Good morning. Welcome to the Ryan Beardy live stream. Today is January 29th on a Saturday. And thank you, Rainhorse. I appreciate the host. How are you doing? Talked a little bit yesterday because I did the first stream in pretty much a month. We beat the medium, and I have plans to do some YouTube content that I've been working on during the streaming break. We started Sekiro yesterday, so on today's to-do list... What's up, Chuck? Doing good, doing good. What's on the to-do list for today is to catch up on the gaming news, which, because of how long it's been since I've streamed, it's a lot. I expect it to be, a good portion of the stream, which is fine. It'll be a little more relaxed. And then if I have time, I'll play some more Sekiro, which I am looking forward to. I had a lot of fun playing that yesterday. Other than that, I think that's it. But while I do this, if you guys have anything extra you want to add, the link to the Discord will be here. And if you want to do it next time, it'll be in the description once this goes on YouTube. I want to spend a little bit less time on this first one because this is a rumor. This is Persona 3 Portable Remasters in development, and I know Atlas does a yearly survey asking what kind of things people want, and since Persona 5 came out and even Persona 5 Royal, Persona's been in the spotlight a lot more, so there's definitely a demand for a lot of people to go back and play some of the earlier games. I mean, even, I think it was last year, it'll probably say on Steam. Persona 4 Golden came to Steam, I believe it was last year. Years have been flying by. Yeah, it did come out in June last year. Persona 4 Arena is also coming to PC. Persona 5 Strikers was multi-platform. A lot of the spin-off games in the past have been multi-platform. Persona 4 Arena was Xbox and PlayStation. So, I think it's even getting I think it's also getting a Switch port for this port. It's not doing anything new other than adding a patch to the game, which I'll go into a little later because Chuck linked a trailer for it. Alright, this is gaming news at its blandest. The same leaker that correctly teased the remaster of 4 Arena Ultimax revealed that a multi-platform remaster of P3P is possibly in development. And, TLDR, that's probably all that article is. But let me just say what I've always said about Persona 3. Give me a second of your time, right? Persona 3 is my favorite game of all time. It's not the best game ever made, there's plenty of problems with it. But it is my favorite game that I've ever played. It means a lot to me. And if somebody, catches my enthusiasm for the game, is like, hey, where can I play, or how can I play Persona 3? I gotta let in a long inhale and a long exhale and explain to them that there's no best way to play the game. You have the original PS2 version, which has the main game, it has the epilogue, and it has the better presentation, but it has really outdated, clunky combat that is frustrating. It's fair to say that it's frustrating. And then your other option is the Persona 3 Portable, which came out on PSP, which removes the epilogue, takes a hit in its presentation because it went from PS2 to PSP, and does add new content with the female protagonist, and it fixes and updates the combat. So I have to kind of do this math in my head of like, what's the best version? And I always tell people, try to play through the PS2 version because you get the full story and you get the better presentation of actually like physically walking around the Persona world. Um, but it's there's no best way to play the game, and any kind of remaster for Persona 3 would be a really exciting prospect for me personally. So while I really, this article is just a rumor, it's honestly, I've seen that crop up plenty of times where there's a hint of a remaster of an earlier Persona game. It is a really nice trend seeing some of these other Persona games, mainly Persona 4 Golden, which was previously stuck on the PlayStation Vita, finally get to PC, and I mean, why stop there? I mean, they should put it on Switch. It would be a really nice game to have on Switch. But the other thing too is the sales. Persona 4 Golden got a ton of sales when it was put on Steam, so there is an incentive there. But everything beyond that is rumored. There was a second article with the same topic. I'm going to try to dig that up. There's two here. Telltale reassures the Wolf Among Us 2 fans that news is coming soon. Here's some news detailing. Okay, so maybe I can just briefly go over this one, and then this is probably the news that this article is talking about. This is the benefit of going over the gaming news a month late, because I could have spent the time reading a gaming news article saying that news is coming soon. Like that's all the that's the entirety of what I'm supposed to get from this, rather than reading what the actual news is. Look out for an update coming soon. So this is an official Telltale post. Cool. Here are some new details on The Wolf Among Us 2. I haven't played any of the Telltale games. I know ever since... I don't know what the very first one was, because they probably go back further than I think. But I remember The Walking Dead really breaking through and becoming like a popular Telltale game. And since then, I know they've put out a ton of stuff. I even think they got bought out at some point. Bought out. Telltale Games has been acquired by a new company. This was 2019. LGC Entertainment. Alright, let me read this one real quick. Nearly a year after its abrupt close, Telltale Games and some of its games have been acquired by LGC Entertainment. A new holding company which plans to relaunch the studio, sell some of the games which were delisted following its closure. That's cool. Potentially make use of some IPs such as Wolf Among Us and Batman games. That's cool. It's interesting that they still keep the rights to Batman. I guess I don't know if The Wolf Among Us is based off something else, or if it's original. Even now, when you see a game with strong narrative, it's always compared to Telltale, so it's no surprise that players and industry colleagues alike mourn the studio's closure. We believe that there's so much life to the brand and its franchises, and we look forward to building. So I wondered during this, because the studio closed down, and then it got bought out. So does that mean it's an entirely new team just working on the same IPs? Alright, so LCG Entertainment. Is it just... They don't really have any info themselves. Game veterans, but, you know. This is openings, but can I go to their homepage? Their homepage is their openings. So the only thing I see is Telltale stuff. Interesting lack of information. Okay, so the main article that Big B linked. After being announced at the Game Awards in 2019, there's been very little news about the reborn Telltale games, The Wolf Among Us 2. Now, a feature in Game Informer on the long-awaited sequel is shedding some light on key development about the game. The game setting, like the first game, Wolf Among Us 2 will be set before the Fable comic books of the series it's based on. Okay, so it is based on a comic book. 6 months after the events of the original. 6 months after the original, it takes place during the winter of New York. Where Telltale has previously said that pre-production for its game started in 2019, it's now been confirmed that the Wolf Among Us 2 is in full production. All that has previously been revealed about the game is that the new team at Telltale has started from scratch with The Wolf Among Us 2, rather than building on the game that was already in progress by the original Telltale team. Okay, so for much more... Cool, okay, that did nothing for me. So just details that they're still working on it, basically. I don't see a release date or anything, but just that it's in full production. This I wanted to look into, not just from this tweet. Let's see. PlayStation VR 2. Maybe this will give me some more details. This is like just the too long didn't read. Some details on the PlayStation VR 2. I forgot that. Is the new Horizon game VR compatible? Okay, let me read this. It's my great pleasure to start off 2022 with news of our next generation virtual reality system for the PS5 console, starting with its official name, PlayStation VR 2, and our new VR controller, PlayStation VR Sense controller. Hey, TP Bubbles, thank you so much for the host. Appreciate it. Maybe this is going to do me more justice, because it doesn't look like there's any... Let's see. Today we are pleased to reveal that one of the biggest exclusive franchises on PlayStation will be coming to PSVR 2, Horizon Call of the Mountain. So it's not Horizon Zero Dawn, it's Horizon Call of the Mountain. So what is this? Oh, it's a unique... It is Horizon, it's just a VR title in Horizon's world. Interesting. I didn't know about this beforehand. What's up, Bubbles? This was January 4th, so this was recently showcased. That's cool. I didn't buy the original PlayStation VR. Yes, I can. Is that what you needed? I can do this as well. I didn't buy the original PlayStation VR. I do own an Oculus Rift, one of the earlier... one of the earlier models. Because I don't use VR that much. I mainly use it for Beat Saber every now and then. I haven't really been convinced to spend, you know, let's see how much PlayStation VR is. I figured I would get more utility from buying VR, from buying VR for my PC rather than getting it for the PlayStation, just because there's a lot more of a gaming library for PC, and then there's mods and things like that. Getting ready, watching, and hosting you beforehand. Okay. So are they sold out and then upcharged? Is that what I'm looking at? Are they in stock anywhere? The PlayStation VR cost? I thought they were around $300, but apparently you need more things. Hey, what's up, Dukels? Do I have to go on the PlayStation Store to find the price? So there's bundles, right? Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. We should do that more often. It's a shame you didn't didn't get much enjoyment out of Fall Guys. I can play that endlessly. So the only thing they're advertising on their website, if you find a PlayStation, nice. Don't link me to the retailers. Just tell me go look and go find it. You'll get to it. Let's see. PlayStation VR GameStop. That's a classic, right? Yeah, I didn't realize they were having some supply issues with the VR as well. Because I know the PlayStation 5 consoles themselves, there's a chip shortage. Oh, other Chris, my bad. Yeah, for sure. So this is refurbished, but it doesn't okay, here's the Iron Man. Let's just... With a game with the headset, because I know with the PlayStation VR, you can buy the headset standalone, but you can't use, you can't really do much with it without buying the, controllers as well. And of course the webcam does the same thing. This PlayStation VR is kind of complicated. So $350. So the PlayStation VR 2, I'm gonna assume that they're going to try to match this price and then hopefully bring the price down of the first one. That's what they seem to do when I was looking into Oculus VR. VR's been sick, mostly Phasmo VR chat. Yeah, I haven't really gotten into it other than Beat Saber. But with, I don't know if this is going to convince me to get a PlayStation VR. Because again, the cost of it, the entry for VR is a lot higher when the software isn't there to match it. Like, you can buy a PS4 today and just have so many good PlayStation 4 exclusives to play. But in order to have PlayStation VR games, you need a PlayStation, you need the VR headset, controller, webcam, and then you have like a substantially smaller list of IPs to games to play. But 4K, I wish I knew a little bit more about VR. I know that the premium one is Steam's Index, but that's $1,000. So that's premium. If you are, you know, if you're gonna jump in, you gotta go Index for $1,000. Then that's not something I can justify. But having 4K, 90 to 100. Because one of the big things is the fidelity. Like, people get motion sick if the fidelity isn't as good, and same with the frame rate. But then again, it's personal preference too. Like, everybody's different. I guess I gotta wait for more. I both have to brush up on my VR knowledge, because that's a whole thing in itself. And then wait until there's more concrete, you know, showcase for the PlayStation VR. But it just seems like a good hardware revision. It doesn't seem like anything extremely new. I think the best thing I've seen from VR that would get me to upgrade is the Quest, Oculus Quest. And the only reason I say that is because this is a standalone. So this you don't need to have a PC for. You can just buy the Quest 2. It doesn't have any wires, it doesn't have any sensors. And it's $300. So to me, this seems like the best roundabout. Like, the Index is insanely too expensive. The PlayStation VR is insanely niche. And this gives you the option to connect it to your PC to use the library that way, or it gives you the connection to use it as a standalone. No wires, no cables, you know. That seems like it's it's a good middle ground where you're getting convenience and quality. The display is pretty huge upgrade. Yeah, for sure. The 4K for something as small as a VR headset, because when you think about the Switch is 720. When you dock it, it's 1080. But when you have it handheld, it's only 720, but the screen is so small that 720 image still looks really good. So like imagine a 4K display strapped to your face. Like that's gonna look really good. I haven't taken 4K 60 frames for granted. You can really appreciate the depth of an image when it's in 4K as opposed to like 1080 and so forth. It's cool. Quest 2 is nice because you can still do PC. Yeah, exactly. You can hook it up to your PC and still get all the benefits. PSVR 2 price is too high. Dude, did they announce a price? I didn't see it. But already I just looked up the original PlayStation. Oh, I mean, there is. How much will it cost? Oh, no, it doesn't. So PSVR 2 doesn't have a confirmed price, but we can speculate on what it might be. I'm assuming they're going to try to match the PlayStation VR that's already listed, which was $350 with a game, with the webcam and with the controllers. But again, like, this is cheaper. It has more utility being a standalone and being PC. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of repeating myself, but needing to have a PS5 and needing to then have a PS5 VR and the controllers and the webcam, it seems like a very niche. It seems like a big ask. People are saying it's going to match the PSVR launch price. I didn't know the launch price was $500. That's crazy to me. I am interested in VR, but I'm not invested in VR because the software is not there. The install base and the software is not there. So asking me to spend even $300, $300 at most, $300 is fine when it's a standalone thing where that's all you need. But anything more than that, just to get in, is not doing it for me. I'd rather get any other brand. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna keep one eye, you know. I also need to, let's look up the specs of the Index before we move on. Is this what I'm looking for? This is not. Does Valve Index have display? Looks like 2K with a combined resolution of around 4K. I don't know. 1440 is 2K, isn't it? I think this is like not one or the other. I think it's a unique display with refresh rate of 80, 90, and 120. Currently experimenting with 144. So like, it could rival the specs of the Index, but again, the price comes out to be about the same because you gotta buy a $500 PS5, and then you have to buy a $500, I don't know, everything, the price of this stuff is not worth the, you know, the support for it. That's all I gotta say. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk got a new trailer, and this is actually really cool because they originally advertised this game as like a Jet Set Radio spiritual successor, and this trailer reveals other bikes, skateboards, roller skates, and I don't remember the rest if there's more, but this is so big, right? It's not just a Jet Set Radio spiritual successor. It's Jet Set Radio, it's Tony Hawk, it's bikes. I don't know if there was ever like a popular bike parkour game, but this is huge. I'm so excited for this game. The aesthetic, The music is by the same person who did Jet Set Radio, I believe. Bomb Rush composer. Yeah, Hideki Naganuma is the original composer for Jet Set Radio and is doing the music for this game as well. So I'm really excited to see what comes from this game. It looks so promising. And again, it's really big that now not only is it Jet Set Radio influenced, but it's Tony Hawk influenced as well. I feel like enough time has passed where if an indie developer is picking up this kind of genre, I mean, visually it looks like they know what they're doing, right? Obviously, I can't say until it comes out. Like, bad Kickstarters happen all the time, but to me, the weight and just like the feel, it just looks like they know what they're doing. Yeah, instant purchase for me too. That's about it, but let's look up the Steam page and see if there's... Is there no release date yet? Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game for sure. And I even want to play Lethal League. I've heard good things about Lethal League. Which is cool because Lethal League already had a similar style to what like Jet Set kind of looks like. So they didn't have to rework anything. They just reused their art style for Lethal League. And the character designs in this game are so cool too. I'm definitely keeping an eye out for Bomb Rush. I hope it's as good as it looks. This is probably one of the last Kirby updates until the game comes out, right? Isn't it? It's March. It's the end of March. So we'll probably get some more before then, but this really is the first trailer to show the scope of this game. It was, you know, very eye-opening seeing Kirby's transition to 3D, but just seeing the co-op, seeing this big open world, and then later it shows like traveling to the different areas. It seems like a it doesn't seem barren. Like, it seems like they did a really good job making a very packed in world. Once you get to here, you can see that this is more of a level select, and then it drops you into some of these areas look pretty linear, like it would be more akin to Super Mario 3D World rather than something like Mario Odyssey. Like, these are not all of these are probably open world. Some of them are probably like 3D but linear. Either way, it looks like they could do both. So I'm really excited to see how this game performs. It looks really good. I haven't played a Kirby game since probably the DS era, and I've wanted to catch up. So I don't know if I would play this game immediately once it releases, but I'm interested to see, you know, if people enjoy it, if it's worth it down the line. Because the last Kirby game that they made, I forgot what it was called. Kirby Star Allies. Is that right? Yes. The Star Allies. Kirby Star Allies, it seemed to not have a lot of content in it. And I hope this isn't a trend with Nintendo, because it seems to be with games like Splatoon 2, Kirby Star Allies, Mario Tennis. I'm sure I can think of a couple others. These games come out, and then while it's free, they still release a game with not a ton of stuff to do in it, and then did long-term content updates. When I would rather have the game be as polished and finished as it can be on release. Because, like, a game like Kirby Star Allies, there's probably not a huge reason to, like, jump back in when you're just given new characters. I wonder if I can pull up the list of I don't know if you have to pay for it, if it's DLC or not. Let's see. Yeah, it was DLC. I think some of it was free, like the first couple were free. I feel like the Kirby games have always been short and don't have replayability. Alright, hang on, Metroid. We're not to you yet. Kirby Star Ally developers explain how they improved the game a lot after launch. So what was the criticism at launch? Here, I'll move this article over. I found a Kotaku article, how it was improved after launch. The early 2018 Switch game Kirby Star Allies improved a lot over the past year, and thanks to a stream of free downloadable updates, some significant parts of those updates weren't originally planned. HAL Chief creator Shinya Umazaki explained the process of expanding the game to me in an email interview, saying the whole offering was designed to keep people playing this. The whole offering was designed to keep people playing and to keep longtime fans happy. That's weird to me, given the type of game. Oh, Mario Golf also did. I think it also did long-term updates. I'm just not a fan of that structure, you know? A planned roster of additional playable characters morphed as HAL designers decided which favorite buddies and villains to reintroduce. The final update's multi-hour Heroes in Another Dimension bonus campaign was a new idea. A switch from an initial plan to simply add more levels to expand the existing story. So maybe it just felt short. Even though planning is very important when it comes to designing a game of this magnitude, we also value the ideas and discoveries that come up day to day, but don't get a chance to emerge by simply following the plan. The last update added Heroes in Another Dimension, which is something that came out of one of those ideas. But where can I find the list of DLC? Because I want to know if it's paid or not. Like, that has some influence over how I feel about it. I don't know if I can find it without going to, Okay, yes, it's all free. I found a GameFAQs post. So yes, all 10 characters, new stages, and modes are free. Just need to upgrade the game and they'll all be in there. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that structure, because again, at launch, these games feel really empty. The first time I really felt it was the first and second Splatoon, where there were so little in terms of levels that I was just replaying the same levels over and over again. And Splatoon does this weird thing where every couple hours the maps rotate, which even further added to the repetition of just playing the same levels over and over again. But, you know, post-update Splatoon games, they're packed with content, and they're even supported with... I think the best way to do it is to do events in-game. The Splatfests were such a cool idea that, you know, kept people coming back and playing long-term. But, you know, releasing a game without, you know, a ton of map variety, a ton of weapon variety, just didn't, you know, maybe some people won't come back after that. So, I don't know if I have more to say other than that. But, yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, because that's what we're talking about, right? I don't know if I'll play it on launch, but it looks interesting. It looks good. I think, if anything, it'll make me want to catch up on some of the Kirby games I missed. Mainly Robobot is one that I want to play. But yeah, it looks good. You linked me a quote-unquote new trailer for Persona 4 Ultimax. I don't think this trailer... I skimmed it. I don't think it shows anything new. But, I mean, we can continue to talk about how excited I am for what's simply just a port of an old game. When I was first getting into traditional fighting games, this game was a really good, like, even if you aren't into Persona, this game is a really good way to just learn interactions of fighting games, because it has auto combos and it has different universal mechanics and every character's specials are input the same exact way, so you don't have to practice inputs, you have to learn moves, which I think is the more fun part of these games. It's more about, there's one step of learning taken out, which is the execution, so that you can just learn when to do what universal moves how they interact with each other. Like, you get a move that I forget what it's called. Like, everybody gets a universal overhead, everybody gets an invincibility get up. So like, everybody's got a what do they call it, an Oki, where you, as soon as you get up from being on the ground, you use an invincible startup move. So it can be annoying to have those, but it's all universal. So it's more about the mind games and learning the different mechanics, learning the different tools that every character has. And then of course every character still feels unique because they all have different archetypes to them. So if you're a fan of Persona, if you're not a fan of Persona, if you want to get into fighting games, this is a really good game to, like, a good medium way to learn. And me as a Persona fan, I'm excited to not only play this game again, but to have it accessible on modern consoles and on PC, and hopefully support it with rollback. Please, everybody else is getting on the trend. Other than that is just wishful thinking that there'll be a sequel to this game, including some Persona 5 characters. But that's about it. It's a fun game. I put a lot of time into Arena, and having it on modern consoles with a brand new balance patch, I'm really excited to see if this game has some sort of second wind, This is a big one. Welcoming the incredible teams and legendary franchises of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming. So, Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. Now, there's a lot of things that my mind goes to during this buyout. A lot of things that won't really be addressed right away. I didn't really know what direction to talk about this in at first, but this doesn't go into effect until 2023. The companies will be acting independently until then. The big talking point is about whether or not Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick is going to stay in the industry, which he's been, to say the least. I don't remember all the details, but he's been a harasser. He's been sheltering harassers. He's just been a negative person within the games industry. And this buyout, people are speculating whether or not he's going to leave the company. I just want to address that it would be a good thing. It would be a good thing for him to, get fired from Activision Blizzard. He still gets a big payout regardless of which way he finds his way out of the company. But as far as internally, everything stays the same until 2023. And then there's just too much I don't know about from how this works from a business perspective to really talk about it. From a game perspective, Game Pass has been an integral part of Xbox's advertising for a while now. The other thing is the mobile market, which is most of their revenue for Activision Blizzard. Candy Crush being displayed on the front here. So this acquisition is mostly for the revenue that comes with mobile games, and just having a wider array of games probably being put on Game Pass later down the line. a lot of these games, like Call of Duty, has had its free-to-play Battle Royale modes. So if they remain free, but like free to Game Pass, or you get benefits through Game Pass, then it's probably going to get a lot more users. And Game Pass is already, you know, making them a lot of money. It's been very successful, and even I see the value of it. If I wasn't a collector of physical game media, I would probably have Game Pass because it's just such a good value. Let me read this article and maybe I'll have a little bit more to say. As a team, we're on a mission to extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet. We all know that gaming is the most vibrant and dynamic form of entertainment worldwide, and we've experienced the power of social connection and friendship that gaming makes possible. As we pursue that mission, it is incredibly exciting to announce that Microsoft has agreed to acquire Activision Blizzard. Over many decades, the studios and teams that make up Activision Blizzard have earned vast wellsprings of joy and respect from billions of people all over the world. We are incredibly excited to have the chance to work with an amazing, talented, dedicated people across Activision Publishing, Blizzard Entertainment, Beanox, Demonware, Digital Legends, High Moon Studios, Infinity Ward, King, Major League Gaming, so on and so forth. Until this transaction closes, Activision Blizzard Microsoft Gaming will continue to operate independently. Once the deal is complete, Activision Blizzard business will report to me as CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Upon close, we will offer as many Activision Blizzard games as we can within Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass. So upon close, right? We also announced today that Game Pass has more than 25 million subscribers. As always, we look forward to continuing to add more value and more great games to Game Pass. The fantastic franchises across Activision Blizzard will also accelerate our plans for cloud gaming. Thanks to this, I learned that Candy Crush makes more money than some of those games combined. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the mobile market is a very important reason why this acquisition happened. Is one of the many important reasons. Yeah, it's only going to serve to make Game Pass better. And, you know, Activision Blizzard had, like, Crash Bandicoot, too. So, I mean, they just have an even larger range of IPs to work with and incorporate into Game Pass. So, yeah, while I don't have too much to say from the business perspective, it's gonna be interesting to see how this changes the gaming landscape, because there aren't a whole lot more big gaming companies. I think Square is probably like the next biggest that hasn't been bought out by anybody. Is that what I want to search for? Biggest video game companies in the world? Because things have been bought out, like Riot's been bought out by Tencent. I think it's like 90% Tencent. Okay, yeah, here we go. So, Sony, PlayStation is their own thing. Tencent is their own thing. They bought up... Tencent owns several other video game companies. Epic Games, Activision Blizzard. So all of this is considered under Tencent. In some percentage, you know? Because again, like 5%, 40%. Nintendo's its own. Microsoft. Activision Blizzard is now under Microsoft. EA seems to be its own. Epic Games is under Tencent. Well, a share of it is under Tencent. Let me be specific. Take-Two Interactive. Bandai Namco is another one. Square's not on here. But like Square, Bandai, a lot of Japanese companies are still independent from Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Because that was the other thing, is if the Microsoft acquisition needs to go under the... Was it antitrust? Is that what they call it? I don't know. I'm just going to be very brief with it, but there's antitrust laws that encourage competition, and this acquisition has to go through the government in order to make sure it's not breaching antitrust and that there's still healthy competition within the games industry. And from what a lot of this I'm kind of saying secondhand from, if you guys have the time, Devin Nash talks about this stuff with way more professional with way more professional knowledge than I ever will. I'm regurgitating a lot of his talking points, but I remember him saying that this probably wouldn't breach antitrust. But there's a lot of things that has to go between now and 2023 before the deal actually closes and things start to change. But I recommend checking out that video if you have the time. PS5 just got its first officially licensed fighting controllers. Hori's new fighting controllers and sticks are coming to PS5 soon and look badass. Hori has announced a new fight stick and PS5 controller that bring the fighting edge to the steadily growing field of third-party PS5 controllers. The fighting stick for PS5 will launch at $200, and the Octa... I want to see what this controller looks like. There's no word when pre-orders go live. So, Hori makes good stuff. I have two Hori PS4 controllers, fight sticks. And if you don't already know, the PS4 Hori fight sticks do work with PS5. So if you already have one, you don't need to buy a PS5 controller. Here's the fight stick. That's what I was thinking it would be, because a lot of games that use light, medium, heavy have the R1 and R2 on the face so that they're easily accessible. I would like to see what that feels like in hand before I buy it. But Hori makes good stuff. I've been a fan of Hori's controllers for a while now. They've made a lot of good Switch controllers, both budget and premium. The one that comes to note was when the Switch first came out. The Switch Pro controllers were about $80. And I've had this conversation a few times, so I'll try to keep it brief. But these are around $60. I think they were $80 at launch. Hori made a $30 Pro controller. The only difference was it gutted a lot of the stuff that is unique. Like, Nintendo packs a lot of hardware into their controllers that most of it doesn't get used by third-party games. So, having the option to have a wired, gutted, third-party $30 Switch Pro controller seems worth it to me if you just are on a budget and need another controller. So Hori makes both good budget stuff and good premium stuff, and their fight sticks, you know, I think for the fight sticks can get expensive, and I think for $200, if you're interested in fighting games and want to take that step, that is a good price point to get it's a mix of quality and cost. It's right in the middle. 8-bit dough version of the Pro controller or fight stick. Let's see, are they listed? I don't see it listed on this site. Is there two? No. Okay, we're almost at the end. Third row? Okay, hold on. This row. Bluetooth controller? Oh, I guess I forgot that Bluetooth works with Switch stuff. These. Okay, yeah. I remember seeing these before. I like the designs. I really like the designs. Top left of that one. It doesn't help that they like keep changing colors. Yeah, under Bluetooth. Okay, yeah. Like, describe it to me. Pink, blue, yellow. Yeah, they look nice. I've never been able to use one, though. Did I? I feel like I skipped some stuff. I did skip some stuff. Skipped a lot of stuff. Okay. Let me try to gather all of the fighting game ones. Then I can talk about that as a whole. I've been a little exhausted with fighting game releases. Every week there's a new character, season pass, teaser for something that is either a new game that's coming out or why is that a bad? It's overwhelming. There's a lot. Like, I don't have time to talk about... Well, I have time to talk about all of them. I don't have time to play all of them. Like, this one, I know that they did a beta for, and I know a lot of the characters were busted. There was a lot of Twitter clips for DNF Duel just showcasing all of these characters' insane infinites. So... I'm sure that stuff will get patched out, obviously, because they're spending a lot of time working on... it's an Arxis game, isn't it? I'm sure they, you know, this is the very experienced... Does it say? Show more, show more, show more. Alright, I guess I gotta Google it on my own. Arxis. And aiding? List of Raising's games. Aiding titles. DNF Duel. Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Interesting. Oh, they did some fighting games. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 co-develops with Capcom. I thought it was all Arxis, but... You know, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. So, experienced fighting game developers. So, I'm sure this is going to turn out with just as much care and quality as any other game. Me waiting on the next NetherRealm game. But, I mean, I don't have too much to say. Just because I don't have the time... to focus on every single fighting game, which you'll see coming up. There's stuff for King of Fighters, which I haven't even glanced at, to be honest. So, like, there's a new character announcement. I think this ends in a beta? No, it doesn't end in a beta announcement. Maybe that was something else. But, you know, I haven't even had any time to look at KOF. I don't see myself playing it at all. More Grand Blue Versus, which I didn't even know they were still making content for this game. So Grand Blue Versus downloadable content characters, Vera and Avatar Belial will launch on December 14th. So these are out now. And then there's the other thing. There's the Legendary Value Editions. Like, all these different versions with new content coming out. So I haven't played Grand Blue Fantasy since launch, and I didn't like it that much. I'm wondering if they've updated, like, mechanics rather than just balancing for this game to make it play any differently since launch. But too much going on in the world where I can't be bothered to pay attention. DNF Duel's getting rollback. We love rollback. I've purchased games just because they've had rollback, so we all know the importance of rollback. Probably the one I can say the most about here is Guilty Gear Strive's new character Biken, because that's a fighting game I've actually played here. Biken's a fan favorite, so to me, it was obvious that she was eventually going to make it into the game. she seems to have a really cool playstyle, like both rushdown mix-up, but having a main rope mechanic that tethers two characters together, which, after seeing some clips of combos that can only be done by biking with the rope, followed by combos that can only be done in the other character's advantage, is very scary. So I feel like she's going to have some high risk, high reward gameplay with that tether that I'm really excited to see gameplay of. It adds an extra layer of complexity, but I like that a single character can kind of modify different aspects of the game. So like there can be some hype moments just surrounding Biken's rope there, but it, like I said, it adds one extra layer of complexity for those who just want to casually play this game. But, you know, it's not largely a good or bad thing. It's cool to see that every character has some unique mechanic that defines them from others, you know? I would be down to go back into Strive at some point, but like I said, I've been so exhausted with fighting games lately. And there, I speedran all the fighting game announcements. There was one more with Persona Arena? Yeah. We were talking about this when this happened. In this week's Famitsu issue, Atlus has 100% confirmed that the upcoming re-release of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax will not have rollback, but will consider adding it in a future patch. This is Persona Central, that's not... Why not link me to Famitsu? I'll just take this screenshot. The Steam version of Persona 4 Golden sold over 1 million copies, so they decided to scale up game development from their original plan, including platform expansion. This is the final version of P4AU. They're focusing on releasing it as the definitive version, where players can enjoy almost everything that the previous released, including combat, story, and downloadable content. Atlus is considering implementing rollback network functionality at a later date in a future patch. It's weird that it doesn't say remastered anywhere. It doesn't say remastered anywhere here, which is fine because it doesn't actually add any new content, or, I mean, it just makes probably better resolution. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax will release on PS4, Switch, and Steam on March 17th. There was a pretty long gap between, yeah. Calling it a remaster is a little deceptive with this article's wording, but, you know, it's not a big deal. The one thing I thought was weird was, this kind of, I want to call it like a low-profile announcement, was in January or December. When was the first Persona Arena? This was the first one. It was a month ago. So, like, beginning of January. For something that's just a port, announcing that you're doing a port, like, 3 months later, is a bit of a long wait for something that I already know what I'm getting. So I've really wanted to play this game again, but just having this 3-month wait just kind of takes more of the wind out of my sails. Knowing that there's no rollback, like making, you know, rubbing salt in that wound. So like, yeah, I'm excited for more people to play Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, but I'm really curious just how many, just how well the sales are going to be for this game. That's what I'm interested more than anything. And in an ideal world, this game would have rollback at launch, but hopefully this game sells well where they'll add rollback, more people will pick it up after the rollback patch, and then from there, maybe I get my Persona 5 Arena, but Yeah, I don't... What are you gonna do? Let's see. Big B sent me some interesting games that I'm trying to do those speedrun last because, one, he's not here, so I never have anything to talk about when he links me games I've never seen before. But two, I can talk about the ones that I did find interesting, like back to back. This is Polygon's best games of 2021. Over the past month, Polygon staff voted, debated, redebated, and re-signed itself to the series of compromises that is our top 50 games of 2021. Any video game that released in 2021, received major updates in 2021, or achieved renewal culture relevance are eligible for the list. I like that. Any hidden gems we stumble upon over the next few weeks will be eligible for next year's list. Okay. Immortals Phoenix Rising seems like another game just... It has the most generic name. That's a good start. Immortals Phoenix Rising with that weird spelling. I don't know, man. It didn't seem to do anything special, just try to capitalize on the, like, Breath of the Wild open world aesthetic. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I never heard of Mundane. Okay, cool, I can just click on it like that. Oh, you know what? I did hear about this. This has a really interesting art style to it. Yeah, I have seen this. I'd be down to check this game out just because of the art style. I think it's supposed to be horror. Yeah, this game looks interesting. I'll have to recall this or add it to my wish list or something. Cookie Run Kingdom got Tender Creatures Comforts. Narrative mobile game by Gideon Lazarus. Interesting. Back 4 Blood, I talked about before. I didn't like it too much. I'll keep this brief because there's 50 games and a lot of... I talked about my personal favorite games of 2021, and I also went through the Game Awards nominations and talked about a lot of the games that I was interested in, didn't get to play, will eventually play. I'm surprised the Artful Escape got as much attention as it has. I don't know much about it other than I watched the Escapist 3-minute review. But apparently the presentation of this game was more than enough to, like, really bump it into the spotlight. That's cool. I'm glad an indie game like that is getting attention because there's not a lot of gameplay in it. So again, it's cool that the presentation is carrying it so far. No More Heroes 3, I haven't played any of these games. I hope to play them. I'm trying to prioritize them. Maybe this year I can get to at least 1 and 2. But, you know, I'm glad that turned out as well as it was projected to. I haven't played this. I don't know what it is, but I'm not in a rush to play through this game. I didn't play any Dynasty Warriors games, but I played Hyrule Warriors, and it just didn't appeal to me. But I'm wondering if the Persona... Apparently there's, you know, some RPG mechanics in this game. There's the Persona, like, social sim parts of it. And, you know, I do like these characters. So, at some point I'll probably want to give this game a shot, but didn't get to it last year. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, isn't that a compilation of the first 3 games? That's a poor name for collection. Like, It's a compilation of video games, Mass Effect 2 and 3 and 1. Yeah. Just call it a collection or something. Calling it Mass Effect Legendary Edition makes me think it's just the first game. I think I saw Time Muffin play this game. What's it described as? Not an actual board game, but the feel of laying down tiles, earning points, growing your romantic village feels just like a cozy board game night. Okay. Boyfriend Dungeon, I've heard good things about. I'd be down to check that out at some point. Eastward, I've never heard of. No, I have. It's supposed to be like, it says it here, it's like Earthbound and The Legend of Zelda put together. I heard it kind of falls flat, but I'd be interested in checking it out for myself just because it's Earthbound-like. Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I would love to get into this series, but I haven't up to this point. Nier Replicant I want to play, I haven't gotten a chance to. This was my game of the year. This, I liked the art style for. It seemed like a chill, relaxing photography game. Moonglow Bay, I've heard good things about, real relaxing. I gotta get into these relaxing games. Genshin Impact 2.0. Bowser's Fury I never got to play, but 3D World's my favorite Mario game, super underrated. Play it. Strive was great. Forgotten City is based off of a Skyrim mod. And it's like the premise is nobody's allowed to break the law. If one person breaks the law, then everybody just like gets deleted and the game restarts. So you gotta like detective work your way into like exploring the city and its people. And while I was not familiar with the Skyrim mod, having this be promoted to like a standalone game is a really cool idea, and I would love to try this game. Was it Game Maker's Toolkit? How Forgotten City works. So this does... I'll link it here. This is a good video to watch describing the Forgotten City. But after watching that video, it made me want to give it a try. Sable I want to play just for the visuals alone. I've heard it's not an intensive game, like it's pretty... What's the right word? It's not too demanding. It's not supposed to be just chill, but it's just not a hard game. Here, it says, what's more, you don't really conquer or really beat anything. Instead, you climb and hover in a bubble from place to place and just listen to people's story. It's not an action-packed game adventure in a traditional sense, but there's plenty of wonders and awe to go around. So, like, the thing that I saw of the person talking about this game maybe was expecting it to be more action-focused. But keeping that in mind that it's not, just appreciating this game is something I want to, like, play for myself. Loop Hero, I ordered a physical copy of. This is a game that I would probably stream. I don't know much about it, but I like the art style and I like what I've seen from trailers and stuff. Animal Crossing got a big update. Pokemon Unite, SMT5. My most disappointed game of the year. I talked about it in a Twitter post that I could, you know, expand upon later at some point, but I did not like it. I liked the combat. I didn't like it was lacking in pretty much every other aspect besides the music and the combat. Age of Empires 4, Valheim, Chivalry 2, Ratchet & Clank, Deathloop, Marvels, Tales of Arise I played. I thought it was fine, it just wasn't a game for me. League of Legends, a friend of mine played through that. That's interesting. I like that League is branching out into different things. Overboard I've never heard of. Monster Hunter Rise. Unpacking got a lot of attention, and that's another thing like the Artful Escape where this is not a traditional gameplay intensive game, like you're just moving things around. but its presentation and how it tells a story was done so well that it's like now being talked about as one of the best games of the year, as one of the best indie games, as a contender. A lot of people played it and enjoyed it, so I think that's really big for indie games. Outer Wilds is a game I'm gonna play this year, for sure. There's no way I'm not going to. I've been putting it off for too long. So being able to play it with its Echoes of the Eye DLC is really exciting for me. I just bought it because it was on sale the other week, so... This is another game that I really want to play. It is like Metroidvania, but in the style of a 2D Zelda game. And it has this really cool mechanic where every NPC in the game has a limited clock before their battery runs out, because they're all robots. So you have to play the game at a pace where you manage being able to give them extra time on their life. And some of them are important characters like shopkeeps and stuff like that. And some of them are intentionally not important characters that you just want to keep alive for your conscience and for the story. So choosing who lives and who dies. So this is a game that, no pun intended, I have my sights on to eventually play at some point. Psychonauts 2 I want to play. Did I hear about this? I think I did hear about this game. Let me double check before I talk about a game that's a completely different game. I think it is. Yeah, this is in the same way that Lord of the Rings... Was it a Lord of the Rings game? Shadow of Mordor. In the same way that Shadow of Mordor had this gameplay mechanic where characters remember interactions with each other, and it tells a story unique to the player's actions with that AI. This game does a similar thing, but I think with every game over, a new decade happens, and stories that happened in the past are told as stories in the new decade or the new time period. So not that I'm a big fan. Let's say not that I know much about this game. I'm really interested in trying it out for the way that it tells a story unique to the player. So I like its ambition. Hitman 3 made it to 6. Death's Door got a lot of attention too. This is a game that I haven't looked into myself. Nothing about it really pulls me to wanting to try it. But, you know, maybe I'll look into it more in the future. Didn't get a chance to play Resident Evil Village. Metroid Dread was great. You know, met all of my expectations. I will say no more than that. Interesting that Halo Infinite's at number 3. I don't even think its campaign is out now, isn't it? But it wasn't. I don't know. Chicory also got a lot of attention. This is something I want to play at some point. Same with it. This is a good year. It's not a good year for like AAAs in my opinion. Like there wasn't a whole lot that I really wanted to get to. But for indie games that I didn't get to, there's a lot of good stuff. Artful Escape, Boyfriend Dungeon, Stable, Loop Hero, Unpacking, Unsighted, Wildermyth, Death's Door, Chicory, Inscription. Those are all like games that have really broken through as indie games and gotten so much attention. Yeah, I want to try Inscription just because I didn't hear about this game until after the Game Awards, and after that I heard it everywhere. Yeah, that's Polygon's 50 games of 2021. Good year for indie games. I'm gonna skip the leaks because I'm trying not to talk about leaks on the gaming news too much. Even though the game's already out, I'm not too interested. Alright, let me round up all of Big B's games. I guess I can get all the rest that I didn't cover. New Spiritfarer update. I got a copy of Spiritfarer, and I do want to play it this year. We gotta talk about Strangers of Paradise. I'll do that last, because I even put the trailer myself in the gaming news. So much. This is what happens when you don't cover the gaming news for a month. That's for Nick All-Stars. Crossplay? Okay, alright. Spoiling it for myself. Okay. Alright, that's a good start. Let's see, what is this? I'll let the trailer play while I figure out what we're looking at, because we don't have Master Big B, King of the Deep Cuts. This is a console release date trailer. So I see the Steam page here. This is Edge of Eternity. Turn-based battles. I did watch this. I think it has like a diamond type grid. I don't think it's... In the trailer, it looked to me like all of these battles take place within like a hexagon shape. But it's not a tactics game like Fire Emblem. So I'm curious, like, what the gameplay is exactly like. The visuals look a lot like Final Fantasy XIV. What's the Midgar Studios? What have they made? They made Hover, and they made Edge of Eternity. What's Hover? Single player and multiplayer parkour game. Ooh, let me show you this. I've never seen this. This reminds me of like Sunset Overdrive. Want to play Solar Ash, but I want to physical. Exactly, me too. I think we should stream their other game. What's it called? I'm drawing a blank. Because I do own that now on Switch. I think I could probably play through... If Solar Ash gets a physical release this year, I'll probably play through both of them. I do need to play Sayonara Wild Hearts. What's, Hyper Light Drifter. It'd be cool to play Hyper Light Drifter and Solar Ash back to back. Because I've wanted to play Hyper Light Drifter for a while now. Released 2016 and I still haven't touched it. Yeah, we talked about it. I own it now, but I haven't played it. This is a published by Devolver Digital game that I thought looked really cool. The art style looks really cool. It looks like a, classic samurai movie. And the visuals look really great for an indie game. I think the art style and the filter over it, the black and white, makes this game look really nice. I told you we talked about this. I'm going to play it this year. I'll probably stream Hyper Light Drifter. So, like, visually, this game looks awesome, and I feel like the subtle movements and the 2D space could probably make for some really interesting combat. So I really want to know what the combat's like in this game. I don't know if I would play this, but it does look interesting. So maybe I'll... Is there a release date? $2022. Yeah, this game looks interesting. I know I don't have too much to say about it, but that's how these things go. It's more about me discovering new games than saying how I feel about them. So this looks cool. I like the 2D, 3D. I just hope the combat's good. I feel like you could do a lot with keeping the combat slow and weighty. Especially because it's 2D in these combat phases, it looks. So, like, it looks to me like there's a lot of weight to it. This is something I'm definitely going to be playing this year. Spiritfarer got a new update. I've wanted a cozy game to play for a while now. And this seems cozy and tells a good, unique story about, like, death and processing death and things like that. So it's definitely something I want to get to this year. And having this new update come out when it has just means that by the time I pick it up, I'm getting the most out of it that I can. The specifics of the new content, it looks like 3 different characters. Their stories are added to the game. Probably along with a lot of subtle, gameplay tweaks and things like that. I watched a interview about the development of this game too, and it seems like the developers put a lot of their own personal emotions and pasts into this game. So I am really interested in checking it out myself. Alright, let's see what this is, because I have no idea what this is either. Oh no, there's more than one. Phantom Breaker Omnia's a fast-paced 2D anime fighting game that features 20 unique characters. Ooh, fighting game. Let's go. Is it out? This is new update release trailer. Maybe I have seen this at one point. Not sure. Who makes it? Developer is Mage X and Game Loop. So this is new territory for me. I'm always down to try new fighting games. Is it like based off anything, or it's all original characters? This is the long lost 1v1 2D anime fighter returns. So this has been going on without me. I think this is an update to an earlier game. It says here. Let's 2D character roster, choose 3 different fighting styles, returned and rebalanced. So dual language mode, remix soundtrack. So apparently there was a previous version of this. Interesting. Chocobo GP. I want to buy this game. How much is it going to be when it comes out? This looks kind of fun. Chocobo Racing Switch. If it's not full price, if it's like 40 bucks, I might play it. I don't see a price point though. Because it's available 2022. I don't see a release. Well, this has a release date in the trailer, March 10th. But it looks kind of fun. I haven't really played any other kart racers other than Mario Kart. I'm surprised they don't add characters. This is up to Final Fantasy IX, it looks like. But I don't see anybody from like 7 or 8 in this game. Oh, can I find a roster? Chocobo GP. Oops. I haven't played any of the earlier, not too many of the earlier Final Fantasy games. Characters. Chocobo. Atla. Camilla. Camilla's Pa. Alright, what about the characters that are from other games? There's Sid. Sherma. I guess even if I won't recognize a lot of these, there's Ifrit, Gilgamesh, Ben. Ben the Behemoth doesn't really know what to do with himself. Okay. Vehicle types. So this doesn't even give you the complete list, because I saw some Final Fantasy IX characters I recognized. I'd be down to check this out. Okay. This looks like another... A lot of things Big V's been sending me to are like remastered versions of older games. I'm assuming the word's re-reckoning. No. I was like, you know, remastered, re-reckoning, so maybe this isn't. This was... Oh no, it was released in 2012. This is... Give me a description, why don't you? The hit RPG returns remastered with stunning visuals, refined gameplay. Yep. I watched this trailer before, and the combat actually looks interesting. Like, it looks reactive. You know, stunning enemies, like, wait to the attacks, knocking them back. Every hit in this game is like knocking an enemy back. It looks cool, but I don't know the first thing about this. Okay. Xbox won't be publishing Ori and the Will of the Wisps devs' next game. Despite publishing both Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori of the Will of the Wisps, Xbox won't be publishing the developer's newest title. That game, while in the very early stages, will not be a sequel to Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and is billed as a grand vision of an RPG that will push the boundaries of what the genre has offered the industry and gamers so far. CEO of Moon Studios Thomas Malner recently opened up about the decision to not partner with Xbox Game Studios this go around. Mahler explained that he and his team have decided to partner with a private division, publisher of games such as Hades and The Outer Worlds, mostly due to exclusivity reasons. He goes on to say that during Moon Studios' partnership with Microsoft, he and the team were inundated with fan requests to port the Ori titles over to PlayStation or Nintendo Switch so that gamers who don't own an Xbox had the opportunity to experience them. I think that's great. They used Microsoft for as long as they needed to publish games, got their name and their titles out there, and are now breaking from Microsoft in order to meet their fans' requests, which they even did with porting the Ori games to Switch and PC and all that. I don't know if it ever went to PlayStation, but it's on Switch. I'm also excited to see what this next game is due to that description. That's cool. I'm interested to see where this goes. I need to play... My list of games that I need to play this year is getting longer and longer, because I haven't played the Ori games yet, and I do own them. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink will be available for PC via Steam alongside its previously announced PS5 and PS4 versions. I don't know anything about this game either. Because I didn't play much, I know this was a mobile game first, wasn't it? Are they now making a console game? I'm sure it's already out. Let's just watch the teaser trailer. It looks visually nice. Keanu Reeves says he's never played Cyberpunk, despite CD Projekt Red saying he loved it. You live by the Keanu Reeves hype, you die by the Keanu Reeves hype. In a recent interview with Johnny Silverhand's counter CD Projekt Red's claim that he loved playing Cyberpunk 2077, explaining that he actually hasn't picked it up at all. Saying that he doesn't play video games, including the one he starred in. He admits he's seen demonstrations of it, but seems pretty adamant that he hasn't played the action RPG himself. This contradiction was spotted by some very eagle-eyed folks over at Cyberpunk subreddit. While watching Reeves' recent interview, they noticed that it didn't fit in with a report from last December, in which CD Projekt Red CEO Adam Kaczynski said the actor loves playing Cyberpunk. He went on to admit that he hadn't completed it yet, but this definitely gave off the impression that Reeves was actively working on his own playthrough, certainly not just watching a demo. So what gives? It's possible that some wires got crossed over at CD Projekt Red. Kaczynski may have been told that Reeves was loving the look of the game, which the CEO innocently assumed meant he had been playing it rather than just watching demos. Another possibility is that Reeves played Cyberpunk as sitting down with the final version in his spare time, rather than messing about in Night City prior to its launch. Reeves, however, is pretty adamant that he has not. When asked if he plays video games, he's quick to say that he doesn't. This is followed up with the interview asking if he's at least played Cyberpunk, which he responds, "No, I mean I've seen demonstrations but never played it." Yeah, this can be interpreted multiple ways, right? Like, I'm totally fine saying it's like wires crossed. There's a lot of people working on this project, but there's also the bad track history of this game's development where they've refused like demo copies, they refused people. They had very strict guidelines on what you can show when you did a review of the game pre like an early copy review. So from the get-go, they were very protective of how people talked about the game before it came out. And this could be seen as one step in that of kind of giving you this idea of Cyberpunk and the people who are a part of it playing it and loving it, when in reality they haven't touched it at all. So it's a red flag, but on its own, you know, that's it. Like, whatever. New DualSense wireless controller colors arrive next month, followed by new PS5 console covers. It's about time. I think the PlayStation 5 is one of the ugliest consoles I've seen. And the white color is just one part of it. So the ability to customize the shell is going to help a little bit. So new PS5 controller colors. Is there a cost to these? Doesn't look like it. I just want the price. What do I have to search? The shells? PS5 console covers. $54. As much as I don't like how the PlayStation 5 looks, I'm not interested in spending $55 to just change the color. I do wonder if people can custom make their own, and that would be really cool. So like, you could pay an artist to paint over these and just like swap the covers. So I didn't know that you could swap these shells so seamlessly. And I think this last page I was on actually showed simply remove your original PS5 console covers and click your new ones. So it's pretty easy. D-Brand makes their own. The other thing too is licensing. So like some of it you would have to do. Oh snap, that's slick. I'm gonna buy one since it's not just a skin, it's a whole cover. Yeah. I do like how easy it is to swap them. It has different lightings too? I didn't know the lights were on the console. That's interesting. Also not legal? Not illegal. Okay. Also not illegal. I guess they do have licensing to make those. Aniplex acquires Fate Grand Order to development unit from Delightworks. I think the cover has some LEDs in it. Okay. It could just be the cover, like it's a bright white light, but the cover is color coded, and so it comes out a different color. Delightworks, I think, made no, Melty Blood. They made Melty Blood. I was gonna say Undernight, but that's French bread. The new company will continue to develop on the Fate Grand Order smartphone game. I haven't played, I don't play smartphone games that much. Temtem Arbory's out now. You are now able to play and go to the credits of Temtem. The game is not fully out yet, but all of the big content updates that they planned are now in it. So all that's left is for them to polish up and finish certain mechanics, certain areas within the game that exist now. And then it'll be, 1.0. So I did play through Arbory, I had fun with it. Still recommend Temtem to anybody who might be interested in it. And I'm excited to see kind of just what else they need to do to get it to 1.0. Because now we know that the actual content is done. The actual world is done. I'm hoping best case scenario, if this game is big enough, long term, because all of these islands are separated by being sky islands, that they can just keep adding more new areas and new Temtem if they decide they want to go that route. But that's about it. I talked to Big B about Chris Tales before. It's a game that I really liked the art style of, and I really liked the time-shifting mechanic for combat. But the game did not really review well from what I understand. So this is saying there's a brand new character, new dungeon, cutscene, and more. The free update adds new story content, a new ending, all new cutscene. So this doesn't change the core criticisms that are probably within the game. I'm interested in looking into this game a little bit more, but knowing that people didn't really enjoy it has me a little skeptical. But it's cool that they're doing some kind of updates to it. Oh, here's stuff. More specific stuff. 7th playable character, new dungeon, general updates. Patch notes, new playable character, new side quest, new Coliseum. Fixed infinite white loading, so issue fixes, switch fixes. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that one. And then one last... You know what? I think I've heard of this game. Big B has sent me a game I think I've heard of. And the reason I've heard of it is because there is a Castlevania-inspired game that has a really long name, quote-unquote, and that's Record of Lodoss War, Deed Lit in Wonder Labyrinth. That is a really long name that fits the description that I've heard. This looks cool. I had fun with Symphony of the Night when I first played it 2 years ago, I want to say. But I think there was a lot of problems with the late game balancing of Symphony of the Night. And indie games have been really pushing the boundaries in every way you could think of when it comes to this genre. So this looks like a more subtle approach where, like, it being Castlevania-like is the point. But I would love to see it in this lens because visually this looks really nice. The sprites look gorgeous. This is a game that I'd like to check out at some point. And hopefully I can remember its really long name. This was posted December 15th. Was this before Garfield? Because Garfield made it into Nick All-Stars. Latest free DLC character will be coming to the game pretty soon. A bunch of characters and stages are in the works. Crossplay will be available in Q1 2022. I like the I follow the developer of Ludosity and Nick All-Stars because they've been putting a lot of both personal anecdotes and, you know, official announcements. So I'm excited for more Nick All-Stars stuff. I think that's it. We hit everything besides the gameplay preview for Pokemon Legends. Oh, and we gotta do Strangers of Paradise. That's important too. Let me double check. There's Sonic Colors Ultimate patch notes. Chuck and I were talking about the state of Sonic Colors Ultimate, and it's such a shame when a game releases in such a buggy and unfinished state, because that's a first impression, and I personally don't usually go back to see if they fix these things. So having this conversation with Chuck about, are they fixing this game? It seems like they are doing patches. In this case, new content, quality of life updates. Ultimate Remix original music soundtrack toggle is an amazing change that I think should be in that game. Full screen boost blur, Tails navigation on off, full screen movie playback, improved visibility, improved stability, updates to enemy attack speed, switch specific mode. Okay. So, Sonic Colors is a really good game, and it was stuck on the Wii for a while, and I was really excited to see that it got a port to modern consoles and PC. I think it was a PC, or was it just consoles? Oops. Looks like just consoles. But I think this was a game that really deserved, or that really could see the benefit of getting an Ultimate version. And I was so disappointed when it released in the state that it released in. So I think for research purposes, maybe I'll give it a full year after it's come out to see if they've fixed everything. I can go in and kind of talk about what the best way to play Sonic Colors is, because I think it's worth playing, and I don't want people to be disappointed or, you know, caught by surprise when Sonic Colors Ultimate has such glaring problems from the original that, you know, may make it worse or may make it better by the time they like get to all the updates. So it's just a lingering curiosity that I hope to I hope to see addressed. We'll do Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is out now, so we don't have to talk about it for too long because people are playing this game. And most of my curiosity with the game is coming from how it's received both when it comes out and what it looks like, you know, a couple years from now. I am not personally interested in playing this game myself. I chose not to buy it. But after watching some gameplay, I think this is a good stepping stone game where I don't think it's doing anything more than what it is presenting itself as, which is open world exploration with a lot of busy work, and Pokemon battles and Pokemon catching aspects and just Pokemon existing in the real world and putting this new lens showing Pokemon in like a natural habitat and stuff like that, as opposed to just in tall grass. So I think what it does presentation wise is really good. Again, from what it looks like, it doesn't look like it sets out to go above and beyond, which is fine. Like, it's doing what it's supposed to, you know? But I hope that it becomes a good stepping stone to mix aspects of this game with aspects of the next Pokemon. Because, you know, let's be real, like, Pokemon's been releasing multiple games a year with very mixed quality to it. Sword and Shield, I talked about before, was my least favorite Pokemon game. I did not like it at all. But seeing them make themselves familiar with things like the wild area from Sword and Shield and making themselves familiar by working on a project like this, like I said, I feel like this is a good stepping stone that we could see aspects of this be put into games going forward. And not that there's like a mathematical trend, but for me, I've always seen the second main game of any console in Pokemon much better than the first. Like, I enjoyed Diamond and Pearl, but I think Black and White was an insane step forward compared to Diamond and Pearl. X and Y was one of my least favorite generations, and Sun and Moon blew me away as one of the best. Even going back to Game Boy Advance, like DS. Heart Gold and Soul Silver were really good remakes. Those are some of the most critically acclaimed Pokemon games when, like, the first was Diamond and Pearl, you know? So I'm hoping as they become more familiar with the hardware and as they try new things with Wild Area and Pokemon Legends Arceus, we can continue to see them. Pokemon's very slow with how they innovate. So I'm not holding my breath for anything crazy. But this just looks solid. That's all you'll get from me. But as more people play it and more people talk about it, I will be interested in hearing what people think of the game. Alright, last but not least, there is a new trailer for Final Fantasy Origins Strangers of Paradise. After playing through both demos of Strangers of Paradise, I like the game mechanically. I think it needs to be better optimized because, especially in the second area of the demo, the frame rate was so inconsistent and it just made the game look very messy. But it's a game that has such a ridiculous premise that I think they leaned hard into it the further. I don't know if it was the plan from day one, but the more they show about this game, the harder they lean into its absurdity with Jack. So I have come full circle with how they've approached how they deal with, like, Jack's absurd character, his isekai into the original Final Fantasy story. So the more that I play, the more I've come to appreciate it. I I at first shared the screenshot of Jack in his, like, t-shirt and pants, you know, punching Garland in the face, and how much of a visual clash in design that was. But after them characterizing Jack pretty consistently in that manner, it's kind of cool. And them revisiting the events of Final Fantasy 1 after I just played through the full game last year, it's really cool to see this stuff reimagined and just actually expanded upon too, because it looks to me like they're explaining more of the events of the first Final Fantasy rather than just retread it. So I'm interested in it for multiple reasons, and you know, kudos to them for doing something so crazy with Jack and actually leaning into it. Because if you watch this trailer with music on, like really paying attention to it, it's wild. But it looks nice, so we'll see. And that's going to do it for today. So thank you so much for taking the time to put things in the gaming news. If you have anything that you want me to take a look at as more announcements are made, you can join the Discord and put it in the gaming news channel. And it'll be in the description of the YouTube video once that goes live. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more like it, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/RyanBeardy. Follow me on Twitter at RyanBeardy, and I have a Discord with the links below.